Hi, are you prepared and have the four most critical items with you as a real estate professional at all times, no matter what you're doing, where you are? You know, luck is when preparedness meets opportunity, and I found myself many times in situations where if I had not been prepared, I would have not been able to take that listing or take advantage of that opportunity or write a contract. So here are the four items that as a realtor, as a real estate professional, you absolutely have to have with you at all times. And I'm now talking in hard copy because Murphy strikes and you may have it on your iPad, but the iPad dies. So you want to have it in hard copy. Number one, you always want to have a listing agreement with you because you never know where you're going to run into a situation where somebody is thinking about listing their home and they want to list it right now. So you want to be prepared at all times and always have one or two copies of a listing agreement with you. Number two, a commission agreement. You never know when you run into a situation where you may have an opportunity for one of your buyers or someone that you know or an investor, and you would like a seller to agree to compensation. You need to have a commission agreement with you because they may not want to list their property. So in addition to a listing agreement, you got to have a commission agreement, which is basically an agreement that states they're going to pay you X percent or X dollars if you bring them a buyer without them agreeing to any type of listing agreement. Now, when you're doing that, you also want to make sure that you do not represent the seller legally. So when you're dealing with a for sale by owner and you're agreeing to a commission agreement to pay you if you have a buyer that may end up buying that property, you don't want to necessarily represent them. Now, I'm in Florida, so different states, different rules, but in Florida, by default, you always represent anyone as a transaction broker unless you give a non-rep disclosure prior to doing anything. So that has to happen prior to executing any kind of commission agreement. So you want to have a non-rep disclosure with you at all times. And then number four, of course, you got to have a couple of for sale contracts with you at all times, and that includes the most common disclosures. So lead-based paint disclosure, for instance, homeowners association disclosures, condominium riders, seller's property disclosure. You never know where you are in a situation. Let's say you're working with a buyer, you're driving around, they see a for sale by owner, and they want to pull over and want to look at it, and you ring the door and they're open. Well, if you don't have a non-rep agreement and a commission agreement and a contract at hand, this whole thing could just go poof. The buyer may go back later themselves and write a contract without you. So again, the four things as a real estate professional you always need to have with you, ideally a couple of copies, is number one, a listing agreement. Number two, a commission agreement. Number three, a non-representation or non-rep disclosure. And number four, a for sale contract with the most common addenda that are required. I hope you found this helpful. My name is Thomas Hyman with Realty Partners.